I won't take any more time. I know that we're really set for this amazing program, and I'd like to introduce our first speaker, who is Julius Mwebia, who has 20 years in the industry of agriculture, has done an amazing job. He's an entrepreneur, an agriculture expert, and also a businessman and a philanthropist, and he's also an author. So, Julius, if you could unmute and greet us, and then be ready to take it away. Hi.
Hi, hi.
Very well. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really want to appreciate this forum, and it's a great one. And thank you for those who conceived it and those who are making it come to life. I want to imagine the great impact it will have on those who are with us today. And in the interest of time, allow me to get started.
All right. Okay. Please do go ahead.
Thank you so much, Bwana Samuel Mwinamo, and the team that has brought this together. So my name is Julius Mwebia Mugambi. I am an agricultural expert. I did extension for a long time. I am also an entrepreneur. I am also a preacher of the gospel. I sing without color because mine is not a formal one. I also mentor youth. I mentor youth, and especially on agribusiness. And the reason I do this is because I realize that today we have energetic, educated, informed, and powerful youth that are wasting for lack of opportunities because of just mindsets, because all along we've been trained to get educated and get a job, and that's where we are fixated and locked up to a point that we cannot see great opportunities around us. And especially in the area of agriculture, there's great opportunities that can never be exhausted, can never be finished. There's enough for every person, every youth, and every Kenyan today that says I have nothing to wake up to. I want to start by defining agriculture because I know time is limited. Agribusiness, rather. Agribusiness can be defined as doing agriculture strictly on commercial principles. And I want to tackle this myth and a mindset that people have that farmers are poor. Farmers are not poor. Farming is not poor. Of course, I know peasant farmers are poor, but farming is not poor. And I want to say that in our country today, the richest people are farmers and politicians. These are the guys that fly planes. You go to Timau, to Rift Valley, those doing farming as a business are very rich. They fly planes. I can tell you, you go to farms in Timau, you go to farms in Rift Valley, and you meet planes parked next to a farmhouse. Those are farmers. Those are farmers. But if you farm as a peasant, if you farm for subsistence, then you'll be poor. But if you farm for business, if you farm as an agribusiness, I guarantee you, you'll be rich. You make big money. As you know, today we say agriculture is the backbone of Kenyan economy. It contributes 33% to the Kenyan GDP. All the salaries employees are paid is coming from agriculture. It employs, in totality, 40% of our population. And when you go to rural places, it employs 70% people in the rural areas. So it's really a very significant sector to our country that requires the energy of the youth, requires the education of the youth, requires the innovative mind of the youth. I can guarantee you that if we can the youth can embrace agriculture, oh, we can turn this country upside down and have a great economy. But we've left agriculture to the illiterate farmers, the aged farmers. It is said that on average, the Kenyan farmer is 61 years old and semi-literate. Now, that person, that kind of a person, there's nothing that person can do that will be great. Those are people who can fail anywhere they go. And so it's unfortunate that we've left agriculture to those people, and then they have defined agriculture to a point that we have all shied away from agriculture because of the people that do it. And I guarantee you that I have examples of youth that have embraced agriculture. None of them is poor today. They are all well up and rich. I can give you many examples, but let me go right away to the core of the topic. Now, bring agriculture the commercial way means making the right enterprise choice, number one, because enterprise you do is very important. You must do prudent choice of enterprise if you have to succeed. And then you must do elaborate planning for what you want to do. In number three, you must be very keen on record keeping. Record keeping is key to success of any business. And I can tell you most farmers don't keep record. They can't tell when they're making losses. They can't tell which direction to go. They can not make proper decisions. Now, when you keep record, it will help you to make right decision in your farming. And then you have to employ the right management for you to realize good results. If you do those, then you're good to go in your agribusiness. And the other myth I want to deal with is the myth that agriculture is about farming. It's not just farming. Agriculture actually involves any part of the food chain, from production to the table, Now, in between, from production to the table, you have inputs. Input level is where you begin, and then from input you go to production. And then along the chain you have also once production takes place, then you have distribution, and then you have value addition, you have marketing, and then you come to consumption. So it's a long value chain, and all those value chains have great opportunities that people can exploit. Now, most of us are fixated to farming, and that's where the problem is, because there's a big crowd in farming, and all these other areas I've mentioned are underutilized. There's huge potential in marketing. There's huge potential in agri-services. There are huge potential in input supplies, and so on. Now, when you come to input supply, and I hasten to say that's where I am. I have a company called Jufra Agro Strategies Limited, where I practice what I learned in school, and I can tell you it gives me good pay. In Jufra Agro Strategies, we do input supplies. We also do agricultural consultancy. We also do after sales extension services. In Jufra Agro Strategy Limited, that's input. It's just what it is. Just supplying, purchasing, and supplying input or technologies. Selling technologies that will go into production. And then you can also do manufacturing of inputs. You can manufacture inputs. Again, I'm also involved in input manufacturing. I do animal feed manufacturing. And when I talk about manufacturing, people think great things. But I can tell you that manufacturing doesn't have to take a lot. It just takes an idea. It takes initiative. I know people do animal production. I know people do manufacture those feeds with just a shovel and bags and in business, because when you take your product to the market, nobody cares where it has come from as long as there's quality. I know people have registered companies and all they have is a shovel, and they'll go to those areas of those ingredients and buy those ingredients and on their floor mix the animal feeds and put in nice bags, and they're able to go to those who can print the bags and they brand them, and they're in the market with their feeds. So it's as simple as that. So you can do manufacturing of inputs. And then when it comes to production, where the crown is, here you do farming. You can either do the real farming. You can also do extension service and consultancy. I know people who are making big monies here who are doing consultancy for the government. Because once you register a consultancy firm, you are ready to go, and you can get consultancy from the government, from NGOs, from multinationals, and there's big money in consultancy. So you can be consulted on production if you've done a bit of agriculture. And then in food distribution, here we're talking about transportation. We are talking about storage. There are people who earn the value with just storage. You just buy a product, store for a season, buy when there's plenty, store for a while, and the price appreciates, and then you sell. That comes in, say, food distribution. In distribution, come to think of it, another day I was traveling to Mombasa, and I realized that when I left my place, I remember I went the corner of the farm one time and found a heap of bananas. They were rotting, and the chicken were feeding on them. Then the following week I was traveling to Mombasa, and I realized that after passing Mwea all the way to Moranga, after Nairobi, from Nairobi to Mombasa, I could not see the banana. And so in one corner of the country, bananas are rotting. In another corner, there's terrible scarcity. Getting Mombasa, I couldn't get a banana at 10 shillings. And back home, it was rotting. So distribution is a big opportunity for agribusiness, because you have glut or surplus in one corner and the scarcity in another corner. So there's huge opportunity there. And I remember that because I was going to Rift Valley, to my in-laws in Rift Valley, and I remember putting some of those bananas were rotting in my pickup. When I landed there, and I gave everybody a banana, they really appreciated it. They thought it's a big thing, and I just picked them. That tells you there's huge business even in food distribution. And then when you come to value addition, this is where there's gold. Value addition. The other day, I got a call from my young lady from Ruai, and she had seen the label in our Ugafla package, and she wanted to know why I do those labels. Then I was curious, because I like it when young people consult me on business. And then I asked her, what do you want to do? And she told me, I have realized that we have a lot of middle class growing, and these middle class women want convenience. They have no time to do sorting of grains and cooking. They want it to get dirty, but they don't want to go into sorting of those grains. And then she said, I want to sort for them, and I want to package them nicely. I want to do a nice package for them so that they can just buy sorted grains, and they take straight to their sufurias and they pay something for that. And then I got curious, and I went to a few supermarkets in Nairobi, and you realize that by just doing that, a packet of green grams, a packet of beans, almost doubles the price. You double the price by just doing that, sorting and just packaging. It's as simple as that. In processing, you turn maize into unga and you add great value to it. Again, I will tell you that I'm in that business. Jufra Food Processors Limited, based in Chuka. We do milling of ungas. And I'll tell you later how this your meeting came to my mind. I'll later talk about it, but it began as a small thing. The idea just came to me some 10 or so years ago. And just started with a portion mill. Today is going to an industry, going to, we're just about to start making the unga no commonly called the jogos. We've grown gradually. From just portion milling, we went to milling and packaging and distributing. And that way we're able to get a lot of grains from the farmers, add the value and distribute to consumers, and keep the balance between the two, between the farmer and the consumer. We have the balance we can keep as a company. I have seen some people doing fruit jams, turning those tomatoes that rot when they're surplus into jam. I have seen some doing honey packaging, just getting the raw package from the farmers and packaging and putting in the market. That honey you buy in the supermarket, somebody has just gotten a crude product from the farmers very cheaply and put in jars, but he has not made. He has only made a label and packaged honey, and it doesn't require any preservative. Processing, variation is a huge business opportunity. And then marketing opportunities are there. I would say this is where agriculture is stuck. I want to know, is everybody following me?
I'm even writing notes.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. You know, in virtual meetings, you can easily think you're talking about because you're not seeing the audience.
I know, right?
Yes. Marketing is where our agriculture is stuck. And this is the area I would want our youth to come in because there's great opportunities. Let me give you an example. I met some 5 young people in Meru. One of them is a vet. Another one did business administration. Another one did agriculture. There's one who did, one is an accountant. And then there's one who did BCom. They got together. And they said, we cannot take this. Our fathers are so stuck in farming and they're not making a move. I've seen my father grow bananas on the road here. I have seen my father grow tomatoes on the road. And I have seen my father do dairy, and milk is so plenty here. There's no market. And there's chicken, there's no market. Then they said, okay, maybe this is where we need to put our education to work and get these things moving out of this place. And like I said, of course, 80% of our country is arid and semi-arid. Those are areas you can never see a banana, you can never see a good cow, you can never see good poultry. All those areas are markets, but people are stuck with the market around their area. And so these guys decided to enter there, into marketing. They don't do production, but they decided to do extension to these farmers to ensure they boost production. Then they position themselves to do the marketing of those products. And all they did, all they invested was their knowledge to do extension to the farmers. And then to do their websites for marketing and to do digital marketing. Then they would take produce from the farmers and do good records from those farmers. Farmer so and so, if it's farmer in my place, there are farmers called Toduranera. Toduranera has brought his bag of maize in a core recorded, a banana in a core recorded. somebody like maybe Paul and so on. So they record all those produce, and then through their website, they market to those areas. Through the market, they market those areas. They would pick the products and take to the consumers, take to the market. And once they are paid, they just come and pay the farmers. They have not invested in money. They have just invested their knowledge, their exposure, their network, their linkage. And then they have helped the farmers. And I can tell you today, those young men are heroes in their village because farmers are saying, this is our son. We educated these guys. Now we are reaping from education. Little did they know that those young men are keeping big balances. They are seeing guys who have provided them with solutions. I can tell you today, those young men wanted to be MCAs and the MPs they'll become because they have sorted the farmers big. And I want to give another example. Another day, my wife worked with agriculture, and one time a farmer came to our office and she told him, advised him what to farm. She told him, just skumas are market. So the farmer went and grew skumas, and then when they were mature, harvested and brought to Chuka market. And that day he carried home half of the skumas, not bought. And then eventually he realized that the market is saturated. So he came back to the office and told her, Madam, you misled me. Why did you tell me to grow a crop everybody's growing around? And there's no market. My skumas are rotting in the shamba. Then she asked him, now, where have you sold those skumas? He said, Chuka market, of course. Then she told him, there's Embu also. There's Embu. You can go to Embu and try there. If it doesn't work in Embu, try Nairobi. It doesn't work in Nairobi. There are many other places you can go to. And that's what the farmer required. Next time we went to Ishara, then we went to Embu, and then the farmer disappeared. A year or so later, the farmer came back to the office, and the farmer came with a batch of 5,000 and told her, you pick this money, use it. I will come to tell you why. So she came with the money, home with the money. She asked me, dear, now, a poor farmer came and gave me some 5,000. I don't know what to do with it because I'm not supposed to do this. I told her, well, now if you refuse to hurt the farmer, it's a tricky thing, but just keep it until he tells the story. So the farmer next time came with a chicken and gave to her and tell her, go and keep for your cook for your family. And then she told her the story. Akamwambia, what you told me worked miracles. I went to Embu and sold all my vegetables. And then I went to Nairobi and my vegetables were not enough now for the market in Nairobi. I started contracting my villagers to farm for me as I market. And then she said, eventually I discovered Mombasa is a bigger market. And she told her that as of now, I earn about 80,000 on average to 100,000 on my marketing business of agricultural produce. Farmer became rich, and to this day, that farmer is a rich farmer. So I want to say, if you want to do agribusiness, you must be prepared to put critical thinking there. Don't be stuck on traditional way of doing things. Let me very fast generally give you ideas on how to identify good business opportunities. How to identify good business opportunities. And I want to say generally, if you want to have a great business opportunity, generally, I usually say you must open your third eye. There are things physical eyes will never see, a third eye will see. Then you must open your third ear and you must engage your 60 sense. People do that, succeed in life, regardless of the environment or circumstances or background. They succeed. Open your third eye, your third ear, and your 60 sense be engaged. Jesus said as much. He said people have ears they don't hear, they have eyes they don't see. And that's what he meant. Just the creator knew that there's a thunder he knew. He knew there's a thunder he knew. And people are so fixated to the physical ears and eyes, and they miss the greater inner eye. That's where great things are seen. To illustrate this, let me tell you another story of a young lady, a housewife in Chuka again. One day we were in Nairobi with my wife, and this lady called her and told her, I want you to come and be the first person to ignite my car, to start my car. She had bought a new car. And then I asked her, what is in that car? Then she told me the story. She told me this woman is a housewife in the rural areas of Chuka. And one day she was doing some training on dairy. And then her husband, who was a dairy farmer, sent her to come and to come to the workshop on his behalf, because he was supposed to come. And oh, sorry, how she was training about poultry, but the young lady had come. She was sent by her husband to come and listen on some topics on dairy. The two are running concurrently. So when she came, she met the dairy training had not begun. So she strayed into the poultry training. And while she was there, an idea ignited her mind. And she decided though she can't do dairy, she can do poultry. When she had the kind of capital you need to do poultry, she said she wanted to go there. And so she went home and told her husband that day. She gave him, of course, the lesson on dairy. And then she told him, because our farmer has left for a month or so, I don't want us to get another one. I want you to pay me what you've been paying him, and I'll do that draw of a farmer. I'll do the milking, I'll do the feeding of the cows. But every day you'll be paying me 50 shillings. So for 2 months, she was paid 50 shillings per day by her husband. So at the end of the 2 months, she had some 6,000. And with those 6,000, she began. Are we together? I hope I'm network.
Yeah, you're still in the meeting.
Yes, we are.
Yes. So with the 6,000, she was able to buy some 60 chicken. And so she began there. And then she branded herself. She's called Anne. Today she's called Anne Chicken in Chuka. So she started there. She reared chicken. Then she sold. And then on and on, and she branded herself for chicken. She started supplying hotels in Chuka, and then in so on and so forth. Then she grew to a point that the market grew to a point that she could not supply the market. She started contracting her neighbors again to rear for her. She does the marketing. She positioned herself to a point where anybody thinking about chicken, and will come to mind. I remember also anytime I thought about it, eating chicken, and comes to mind, I would pick up a phone and call Anne. And one time I wanted the chicken for my visit, I called her. And later on, she told me I didn't even have to have those chicken, but I have trained other farmers who can rear my style and rear my quality. So I go and pick from them and sell to you, and they keep the balance. So on and on. In 2 years, she was able to, she's changed her husband's dairy, because her husband was rearing a crossbred animals. She bought her husband 2 cows, one is 360,000, and she did a nice cow shed for him. And then she now graduated from using motorbike to distribute her chicken to buying a Pro Box. So this is the car she was telling my wife to come and be the first person to ignite, because my wife gave her the idea. Final story on that. 2019, we held a youth summit in Chuka University. And one of the ladies who was there was called Mwende. Mwende was struggling, looking for a job. She was understood she could get a job of maybe 5,000 or 6,000. That was a dream, to get a job, because she had finished university and she was jobless, and she was moving around the shops there looking for jobs. And so she was praying God to give her at least a job, at least between 6 and 10,000. So when we talked there, I talked about the principles of success, and she grabbed something and went home, and she was ordering chicken. Those of us who listened to our plan for summit this year, she gave her testimony. And she said 2019, she went with chicken. In between 2019 and now, she was saying she has been able to generate enough income and build rentals. She's today a landlord. She built rentals. And the other day, when she was giving her testimony, she said, right now, nobody can employ her unless somebody offers her 200,000 and above. That's how transforming things can be when you think, when you open your third eye, when you open your third ear and engage your sixth sense. There's a lot you can do. So these are things you must do to identify a good business idea. Listen to people. People, what are they complaining about? That complaint is a business opportunity, especially when it connects with agriculture. I always give an example of this young man who, when you hear people saying serikali tafadhali, they are giving you an idea. Ukisikia serikali tafadhali, become the serikali. Just become this, play that role, enter there. Time is short. I could give an example of this young man who people the flood swept away the bridge, and when people are waiting for the serikali came and did the bridge, and then started changing. And before, he was praying for the floods to continue, because when the floods ceased, his business ceased. But then he had made big money. And so listen to the complaint of the people. Supply, meet that need. You have a business idea. Then take a critical look at what frustrates you. Today, if Branson did not get frustrated by British Airways, we would not be having Atlantis. Atlantis was born, Atlantis Airlines was born because one time Branson was traveling British Highway and he was so frustrated by the service there. When he landed, he said, well, somebody should do something about it. Then something is said and told him, why can that somebody be you? Why can that somebody be you? And then he decided to be that person, and they started renting planes and solving that problem. And today, that's how Atlantis came to be. So take a critical look at what frustrates you. Don't let it continue frustrating you. Tackle it, and that becomes a business idea. And then take a keen look at the government policies and projects. Government is the biggest spender. It controls maybe 90% of the funds in this country. If you position yourself with the government, you can't go wrong. Even in agribusiness, because again, the government is so focused on agriculture. If you position yourself, and I can tell you from my own experience, that's where I am. That's where I am. I do a lot of business with government. I do supplies to governments. They pay me big, where customers can pay me 10%, government pays me 100%. And I make big money there. Actually, I don't sell over the counter. I don't sell over I do little business over the counter. My biggest business is with the government. Projects. When you hear government projects, position yourself there. Your agriculture projects. And you can either supply services, you can supply goods, you can supply facilities, and so on and so forth. And so policies and projects of government are big, are attractive areas you can invest in. Then travel. When you visit places, when you go to trade fairs, you get ideas, you get connections, you get linkages. When you visit places, you may see opportunities that are lacking in your environment. Import them. You can customize it and import and bring to your people your business idea. And then focus. That's number 5. Number one, I said, listen to people. Number two, I said, take a critical look at what frustrates you. Number three, I said, take a keen look at government policies and projects. Then I said, number four, I said, travel and visit trade fairs and so on and so forth. Number five, do forecasting, forecast. I have a brother who is very rich today. And I remember when I got a job for him, at first when he finished college as a vet, he requested me to get a job for him. And for 1 year, I could not get a job for him. By the time I got a job for him and they told him the salary, he said, well, I don't care. I will not go for it. I'm already making more than that. And today he's a very rich man, richer than me, I can tell you. So he started with horticulture. And when he was doing his farming, there are times I'd meet him growing unconventional things. I'll meet him growing even maize and harvesting it green and things like that. And then, so the times I would meet him growing tomatoes when they are flooding in the market. They will tell me, wait until harvesting time, you see what happens. It was very good in forecasting. He would forecast what would be in shortage in 3 months. And that way was able to always be in the market. You won't rush where people are up. You won't rush in when people are rushing out. So he knows when people are rushing out, they're leaving a vacuum. You'd feel that vacuum. And so he became rich. Today he's in Agribusiness, he's doing other businesses, and from there he graduated to other things. In the 90s, a plague was forecasted in this country. I was then in agriculture, and we were told there's a citrus society coming around. It will clear all the fences we had then. Those of us who are old, you remember that our homes used to be fenced with the cypress, a very nice cypress edges used to adorn our homes, the surrounding of our homes. And so you were told a cypress has landed in the country, and it is chewing those cypresses. And all of us waiting to see the drama unfold. But a colleague of mine predicting that when citrus solid will finish the hedges, people would require hedges to fence their farms and fence their homes, especially their homes. And so he went around the country looking for something called K-Hepo. And he put his entire 1 acre farm in Meru into a K-Hepo nursery. And so when citrus started killing the hedges, he went to the roadside and put a big signpost there saying K-Hepo nursery seedling nursery here. And for a month or so, that place was very busy. Lorries coming and loading and taking away the seedlings. He made his millions then. And today he's a very rich man with a very big factory in Agribusiness. The other day he told me his workforce today is about 1,500 people. And his best paid manager in his factory is earns 1 million. That tells you the kind of money he has made eventually, because he's a very good man in forecasting. So forecasting is very important. Even in farming, you must do forecasting. Now, actually, in agribusiness and indeed in any business, it's not really what you do, is how you do. It's how you do. I can tell you, can give you examples of people who have succeeded in horticulture. I can give you examples of people who have succeeded in dairy. I know a young man doing dairy in Nyeri, in Roiro, a young lecturer called Muturi in Avaika farm. And when I went there, he told me he makes 4 million per month from his dairy. He has 120 cows in Havaneka. It's not cemented. And he also does, he milks and sells semen from pedigree bulls. And he exports cows. He's doing dairy. So there are great agribusiness examples in horticulture, in poultry keeping, in dairy farming, in pig rearing. The other day I met a lady who was telling her son, who is a doctor, who wants about 300,000, told him, I can employ you with my pig farming. That farmer is here in Gong. And when you listen to her, that time she had some 500 pigs, and this was projected to make about 4 million. But the time she sold them, and she had already market the farmer's choice. Especially if you are able to do contract farming in agribusiness, you can't go wrong because you're already contracted as you farm. As she does contracted farming. There are some in beekeeping. Honey processing is a big business, but just pick that honey and package and sell. I talked about feed manufacturing. I talked about flour milling. I talked about sorting green and packaging. All these examples of great agribusiness ideas. You can do even baking. You can do hospitality is a big industry today, and it doesn't require a lot of capital. You can do events. All these are agribusiness ideas. I want to stop there. I'm sorry. I know I may have taken slightly more than my 20 minutes.
Well, you should not apologize because you've given us so much value. So much value. I don't know, Samuel, when was the last time you had a person mentioning figures like 4 million from their mouth? You know, like they know someone who's making that. It makes you rethink your life and what you're doing and your activities, you know? Thank you so much, Julius. I think
I'm thinking about how much the brother is making, because I know this guy is making money. So if the brother is doing better than him,
I know, right?
It's crazy.
You know, so I think we need a session. Some of us now are thinking of changing our ways and getting into agriculture. I guess we would love to, have a session or something like that. We can extend it past this. But what I got from this is that opportunities are all around us. So amazing to hear the story of the lady who was looking for a job for 6,000 shillings. And now she's actually a landlord. She's making way beyond the 6,000 she was looking for. So for the young people who are here, there's so much opportunities if you open your third eye, your third ear, and your sixth sense.